Why aren't Sri Lankans proud of their motherland? Have you noticed that while some Sri Lankans are proud of a few things like our tea, wildlife, beautiful beaches, and our rich heritage, when it comes to most other things, including our people, our way of life, our brands, pretty much everything else, we tend to look down upon them. When it comes to other countries, their people, their ways, their brands, pretty much everything else, some Sri Lankans are their starry-eyed brand ambassadors, all for free. The scary part is that most of them have never actually experienced those places themselves. Now, should you even care about this problem? This habit of ours has dire consequences, in my opinion. We have been consistently conditioning our future generations to embrace all things foreign, lock, stock and barrel, while putting down our own. We will never truly appreciate the value of things we have as a country and a people. It's also a terrible blow to our national pride, driving a sense of a national inferiority complex. Now, I've also been guilty of this sometimes. My interest in this question is purely professional because I love asking questions about behavior of people, why people do what they do, their motivations, the social and environmental triggers for their behavior, and then understanding how these behaviors can be changed. Now, here are some of the reasons I think contribute to this behavior. I'm hoping you will share your ideas and insights too. Is it our island mentality? The concept of island mentality is very vague. It actually means that islanders tend to believe that their ways are superior to the outside world and that they are somewhat hostile towards outsiders. We're quite the opposite of this. Being a naval hub, perhaps traders and other visitors brought many cool things here back in the day and we embrace them wholeheartedly. Now, are we still carrying on with this? Why were other islanders unmoved by their visitors the way we were? Is it our colonial mindset? The colonial mindset is more deep-rooted than most of us actually recognize because it has been executed to perfection through our education and other social institutions. Again, Sri Lankans seem to be an exception by seeing the Portuguese, Dutch and British as having done us a favor by conquering us while other colonized countries resent their colonizers. Some are taking it back to them and demanding compensation, but in Sri Lanka, we believe they civilized us. Why? We disregard everything we lost and the social, racial and other issues created by those colonial masters. Sri Lankans look down upon Sri Lankans who can't speak English fluently, but these same Sri Lankans will talk very appreciatively about how other races speak their mother tongue with pride instead of abandoning it for English. Then we want the complexion of our conquerors. Those who marry white people are considered as having hit the jackpot. Perhaps Sri Lankans want to get close as possible to their colonial masters and mimic their behavior because we consider them to be superior, prestigious, having more broadened worldview with sophisticated choices. The flip side of this is being stuck with your own isn't preferred. Do you think this cultural conditioning is a big reason for this behavior? Anyone who has read some history will know that these colonizers built their fancy countries by conquering and taking back with them much of the wealth from the likes of us and making us poorer for it in the process. So why do we view them and their countries with stars in our eyes while other colonized nations view them with resentment? Have we got some kind of a national inferiority complex? We have been captured by 3 different countries. Then after 1977, we are being consistently outsmarted by market forces. Have we gained some kind of a defeatist inferiority mindset as a result? Is it our lack of insight about other countries? Most of us go to places like Singapore, get really impressed with what immediately meets our eye. The airport, the roads, the city, in short, the facade. We automatically believe the rest of the country must also be the same way, and the locals are truly blessed. It's called the halo effect, generalizing 1 or 2 positive aspects to everything else. But if you spend a lot of time in Singapore, you will know that it's far from the utopia you imagined it to be. The locals will tell you enough about their life and the country to convince you otherwise. If you follow the ongoings on there, you will see that the racism which is now out there in the open, uncontrolled because of the internet. But all of this may not be obvious if you only spend few days frequenting touristy places. Back in our own country, we have a lot more insight about the inner workings of the country. However, many Sri Lankans defend negative things happening elsewhere while they criticize the very same things here. Are we falling for propaganda? We tend to believe what we are told, most often without even verifying if the messenger is credible. As a country, Sri Lanka utterly fails at marketing herself. Even at most company levels, marketing doesn't still get the priority it deserves. Some countries like Singapore and the USA are simply better marketers. They excel at manufacturing authenticity with strategically crafted campaigns that are aimed at improving their country's image. Whereas back here, absence of such campaigns may be thought of as we don't have anything worthy of sharing with the others. Do we have some kind of repressed anger? We were always convinced that we will outperform countries like Singapore and even Japan because of our natural resources, education levels, and our clever people, the strategic location of the island, and so on. Maybe we feel that we have wasted the opportunity without any real progress. We probably had great expectations, but where we actually are now is in no way close to those expectations. So a lot of us have a sense of repressed anger about the way things are in Sri Lanka. Could it be that we are mischanneling our anger to all things Sri Lankan? But if this is the case, as a citizenry, we are also responsible. Look at the way most Sri Lankans work. When they work overseas, they apply themselves to the job, they're diligent, they're efficient, whereas when working here, most of them do such a half-hearted job, delivering poor results and delays. Is our large migrant population somehow contributing to this? Due to all kinds of issues that we endured like civil unrest, terrorism, failing politics, lack of progress, a lot of Sri Lankans migrated to other countries for better prospects. Then there's a group of people who search and settle down only in the white world for various reasons. No matter what their reason, it's not easy uprooting and then replanting in an alien country. In the face of these hardships, they have to justify their decisions to migrate, both to themselves and to the rest of the world. Could it be that these justifications fall on the colonized fertile ground in Sri Lanka? Lack of sources of country pride. We had several sources of country pride from time to time. Beauty, rich culture and the arts, agriculture, irrigation systems, our famous hospitable people, our tea, then cricket, apparels, and so on. Over the years, these sources of country pride have systematically dried up. For example, from the granary of the East, we have now become the rice importer. Sri Lankan Airlines has won many accolades, but some Sri Lankans take pride in saying, no, we don't fly Sri Lankan. They praise other airlines even after personally experiencing their bad experience. Now, this list would be incomplete without Sri Lankan politics since independence. Our politics has constantly disappointed, disillusioned, and divided us and made us destructive towards each other. If that's the case, we are also responsible because we get the leaders we deserve. Have we forgotten that our love for the country must be far greater than our hate for any politician or any political party? We propagate negativity because we forget this and we leave ourselves open targets for anyone waiting for an opportunity to beat our country down. I also feel that we can be more responsible in changing our country around instead of praising the other countries. A good example is our road behavior. When we travel to other countries, we observe their rules, but back here, we break all possible rules and blame one another. I feel that we as a nation, we want everything to fall into our lap without making the necessary change, especially at an individual level. While Sri Lankans don't appreciate Sri Lanka, there are many who have been eyeing Sri Lanka throughout history. Our behavior will give them this country on a silver platter. Then too, we will be the first to complain about how others are taking this country from us. What other reasons can you think of as to why most Sri Lankans put Sri Lanka down? Do you think it's important for us to change this behavior? What can we really do to achieve it? Do let me know in the comments below.